Hi, it's Tucker. Today I'm looking at clout-chasing influencers who died for content, proving exactly how far people will go for views. From a stunt creator climbing between two moving trucks beneath a sports car, to a YouTuber who tied a rope to his waist and jumped into shark-infested waters, making his final video unforgettable. It was the night of September 18, 2019, inside a rented luxury penthouse in Miami, where a major live stream party was being held. Cheryl Bloom was 28 and had built her online fame around increasingly reckless stunts designed to shock viewers and go viral. Over 2 years, she had become known for hanging from moving yachts, standing on penthouse ledges without safety harnesses, and hosting rooftop parties that destroyed rented properties. Several former collaborators stopped working with her after accusing her of ignoring safety rules whenever cameras were rolling, but the controversy only made her more famous online. One thing I have discovered is this: when you stop being careful and there's no effect, you build a false confidence, and that's what leads to the next part. Her latest live stream was supposed to be another outrageous viral stunt. During the party, Cheryl announced she wanted to create the biggest luxury fire effect social media had ever seen. Staff members brought several propane cylinders and fuel reservoirs onto the enclosed balcony area to power oversized flame effect machines being used for the stream. The balcony doors had been kept shut most of the night to avoid noise complaints from neighboring units. She had prepared them ahead. The fuel equipment had multiple warning labels showing that it contained highly flammable material, and her crew warned her repeatedly. But Cheryl ignored the warnings and continued decorating the area with large amounts of elastic party decorations, hanging fabric strips, and plastic materials because she wanted the live stream background to look more dramatic on camera. As the live stream audience increased, Cheryl continued adding pyrotechnic effects around the enclosed balcony, despite several guests becoming visibly uncomfortable with how close the flame equipment was to the fuel supply and decorations. Nobody moved to stop her because she was the host, and everyone was focused on the camera feeds and the growing viewer count. The chat was moving fast with people watching in real time. At 11:47 p.m., one of the spark devices released hot metallic sparks near the fuel supply area. A flash fire erupted across the balcony before igniting the main fuel supply moments later, causing a massive explosion that tore across the upper entertainment floor. The blast wave shattered windows and sent debris across multiple rooms. The live stream ended abruptly mid-scream as smoke, shattered glass, and flames filled the penthouse. Guests ran through debris trying to escape while building fire alarms activated throughout the tower. Cheryl Bloom was critically injured in the explosion with severe burns covering most of her body and internal injuries from the blast pressure. She was transported to a nearby hospital by paramedics, but the damage was too extensive. Despite medical intervention, she died from her injuries several hours after arriving at the hospital. Emergency responders arrived within minutes after neighboring buildings reported hearing a loud blast from the upper floors. Firefighters worked for hours bringing the flames under control. Investigators found multiple safety violations, including indoor pyrotechnics, unsafe fuel storage, and flammable decorations near heat sources. The video was taken down immediately. Sponsors cut ties with Cheryl's brand, while lawsuits were filed against organizers, equipment suppliers, and the property management company. If you think this was very stupid, trust me, the next one will make you question if some people live in an alternate universe. It was August 18, 2017, on a closed expressway outside Busan, South Korea. The highway had been shut down for 6 months due to structural repairs, leaving long empty stretches of asphalt with no traffic except the occasional construction vehicle. Elias Vane was 28 years old and had built a large following online through extreme stunts. He had jumped between rooftops in Hong Kong, crossed crane beams in Dubai, and hung one-handed from a 40-story building in Bangkok while filming himself. His audience followed him because every video felt like it could go wrong at any moment. By mid-2017, his view counts had started dropping. He wanted something bigger. The idea came from the famous Jean-Claude Van Damme split performed between two moving Volvo trucks in a viral commercial. Elias planned to recreate it, but with more danger. Two freight trucks would drive side by side down the empty expressway, while he stood with one foot on each roof. At the exact moment, a modified Nissan GTR shot underneath him at full speed. He would drop into a full split above the passing car, while drones captured everything from multiple angles. He hired the trucks through a local transport contact and rented the GTR from another influencer. To make the drone footage look more cinematic, Elias instructed both truck drivers to keep the vehicles driving unusually close together throughout the shot. He deliberately told the truck drivers only that they needed to hold their speed while cameras filmed overhead. I seriously wonder what he was thinking when he made that call. It really baffles me. He left out the split entirely because he believed genuine reactions would make the footage more authentic, and he worried the drivers would refuse if they understood the full plan. Filming began just before sunset. Drone footage later showed the trucks slowly aligning as Elias climbed out from a ladder attached to the rear of one vehicle and positioned himself standing between both roofs. The GTR appeared several hundred yards behind them and began accelerating. For a few seconds, everything looked controlled. Then one of the truck drivers spotted the approaching car in his side mirror. Believing a collision was seconds away, he jerked the wheel and braked. The second driver reacted at the same moment. The gap between the trucks widened suddenly and without warning. Elias dropped straight down onto the roof of the GTR as it passed beneath him at speed. The impact caved the roof inward and threw him forward across the windshield before he was ejected onto the highway surface. The GTR swerved hard into the barrier. The force of hitting the road at that speed caused catastrophic injuries across his entire body, including severe traumatic brain injury, multiple spinal fractures, and extensive internal hemorrhage. He was still breathing when crew members reached him. Emergency services were contacted immediately, but the closed road significantly delayed ambulance access. Paramedics arrived and began treatment on the highway, but Elias was in cardiac arrest before transport. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The medical examiner ruled his death a high-speed impact causing catastrophic injuries. One truck driver said he did not realize Elias was between the vehicles until he saw him falling. Investigators later found the stunt had no proper safety measures, no emergency plan, and the footage was never uploaded. Elias kept the plan from everyone because honesty would have ended it before it started. The next person I'm about to talk about did the complete opposite. He went live, told the whole internet what he was about to do, and then had no way back. It was June 3, 2016, in the wooded area outside Vancouver, Canada, near a public park filled with tall cedar trees and suspended hiking bridges that stretched between the trunks high above the forest floor. Mason Vale was 26 and had built an online following around a strange idea. He claimed that Tarzan was not fictional. According to Mason, the real Tarzan had lived decades ago deep in isolated forests, and society had simply turned the story into movies and books. He called himself the new Tarzan and said he was relearning survival techniques that humans had forgotten. Most people watched his videos ironically. He filmed himself shirtless in a crude treehouse built in the forest outside the city. He climbed without safety gear, ate fruit beside fires, made animal calls, and spoke dramatically about returning to instinct. The videos had good editing and jungle sound effects and carefully framed shots that made everything look almost believable, despite the exaggerations. But there was one detail people kept mocking. Unlike the movie version of Tarzan, Mason never actually swung from tree to tree. He climbed and jumped, but he never did the thing everyone associated with Tarzan, the swinging. Eventually, he uploaded a heavily edited clip that appeared to show him grabbing a hanging rope and swinging between branches several meters above the ground. The video went viral immediately. Within hours, people were accusing him of using hidden harnesses and camera cuts. Slow-motion analysis flooded social media, with people pointing out suspicious transitions and missing frames. Mason saw all of it, and it infuriated him. 3 days later, during a live stream, he promised he would prove everyone wrong with a completely real, unedited Tarzan run. He said he would perform it live with multiple cameras recording continuously, so nobody could accuse him of faking anything. And I get it. I actually get it. You spend years building something, and then the one moment people finally pay attention, it's because they think you're lying. That kind of anger makes people do things they wouldn't otherwise do. On the afternoon of the stunt, he entered the wooded park carrying climbing ropes and action cameras, while a small group of fans and curious onlookers followed behind him. He attached ropes high into neighboring trees using equipment he had little professional experience handling. He climbed into position and checked the rope attachment points. The equipment held. The first swing carried him successfully across a short gap between two large trees, and spectators below cheered as he landed awkwardly but safely against the next trunk. Mason shouted triumphantly toward the cameras, clearly energized by the reaction. The live stream chat was was moving fast with people commenting in real time. Then he attempted the second swing, but this time was different. The rope twisted unexpectedly as he jumped. Instead of gaining forward momentum, his body rotated sideways in mid-air. He lost grip with one hand almost immediately, and his shoulder struck a branch several meters below. The impact caused him to lose his remaining grip entirely. He fell through multiple lower branches before striking the ground in front of the crowd. His body hit hard. He did not move after that. Emergency services arrived within minutes, but Mason died shortly after from catastrophic injuries caused by the fall. Police later confirmed there were no professional stunt coordinators, climbing experts, or safety systems involved. The live stream was quickly taken down. Many viewers initially believed the fall was staged because Mason had spent years blurring the line between entertainment and reality, until the platform later confirmed he had died attempting the stunt everyone expected him to try one day. The next case I found on a forum thread that had been mostly deleted. I almost didn't go looking for the rest of it. I wish I hadn't. It was September 14, 2018, near an isolated section of the Vltava River outside Prague, Czech Republic, where abandoned maintenance docks and dark industrial waterways had quietly become popular filming spots for underground content creators. Lucien Vale was 27 and ran a magic influencer account called The Phantom Illusionist. He had around 4,000 followers, and the people who watched him were fascinated by how real his escape tricks looked. His videos showed handcuffs, locked rooms, rooftop escapes, and underwater illusions with cinematic editing and dark atmospheric music. Lucien constantly complained that social media audiences no longer believed in magic. He needed one video to go viral. He needed something that would finally explode online and turn him into a major creator. He spent months searching for the ultimate escape stunt. Among his small friend group, it became known as the Drowned Escape. Unlike his public performances, Lucien wanted this one to feel authentic and intended to upload it later. Only 4 close friends were present, 2 camera operators, 1 driver, and his longtime assistant, Adrian Keller, who helped prepare the restraints. The idea was simple but terrifying. Lucien would be locked inside heavy chains secured with industrial padlocks and attached to a weighted frame. He would be lowered beneath the river water at night. Hidden tools inside the restraints were supposedly meant to allow him to escape underwater before resurfacing dramatically several meters away for the final reveal. Everything had to be filmed continuously without cuts. On the night of filming, portable floodlights illuminated the riverbank while cameras rolled in near silence. Adrian wrapped steel chains tightly around Lucien's chest, arms, and legs before securing multiple locks one by one. Lucien appeared calm throughout the process, occasionally joking that real magic only works if the danger is real. I wonder if he actually believed that, or if it was just something that sounded good on camera. Because if he believed it, then going into that river wasn't reckless to him. Once fully restrained, he was attached to the weighted rig near the edge of the dock. Lucien nodded toward his friends before being slowly lowered into the black river water. Underwater, everything was dark and cold. The weighted frame pulled him down faster than he expected, and the chains wrapped around his body made it hard to move. He reached for the tool that was supposed to unlock him, but his fingers could not find it in the darkness. His lungs started to burn, and he pulled at the chains, but they would not come loose. The tool was not working the way it should have. He needed air and could not get to the surface, and water filled his lungs and he stopped moving. At first, nobody panicked on the dock above. The group expected him to remain underwater for over a minute as part of the illusion. One camera operator even kept adjusting angles, assuming Lucien would emerge nearby exactly as planned. But the water remained still and still and still. After several minutes, Adrian began shouting Lucien's name while the others searched the surface with flashlights. They realized something was wrong and attempted pulling the rig back upward manually, but the chain system had become tangled below the waterline and the weight would not budge. They pulled harder. Nothing moved. Someone finally called emergency services nearly 10 minutes after Lucien had gone under. Rescue divers searched through the night before recovering Lucien's body from the riverbed hours later, still partially trapped in the restraints. He was pronounced dead in the spot. Investigators concluded the underwater release mechanism had jammed after submersion, preventing him from escaping in time. The footage was never uploaded. Lucien Vale had wanted one viral video, but his final stunt proved the danger was real. Lucien went under with 4 people standing right there, and none of them could reach him in time. The next person I found did something he felt was right at the moment and paid the price. It was July 22, 2015, on a narrow rural road outside Sherbrooke, Quebec. The road cut through farmland and forest with very little traffic at night, except pickup trucks and farm vehicles coming back from nearby properties. Damien Vauclair was 23 and had built a growing online audience by copying whatever trend was going viral at the moment. One month he filmed pranks. The next month he copied public dares spreading across social media. Friends said he was obsessed with staying ahead of trends before they became oversaturated. He especially hated falling behind another local creator whose videos had recently started gaining more attention than his. When couch-dragging videos suddenly exploded across the internet, Damien decided he needed to film his own version before the other creator uploaded one first. He kept checking view counts on similar videos and talking about making sure his video appeared online before anyone else nearby copied the trend. I think about that constantly with Damien. Him refreshing someone else's view count, and he wanted to do anything to topple it. Late that evening, Damien and several friends drove out to isolated back roads carrying an old 3-seat couch tied to the back of a pickup truck using tow straps and rope. Multiple phones were positioned around the truck to record different angles, while another friend followed behind in a second vehicle filming footage for social media uploads later that night. At first, the couch slid behind the truck without major problems. As the driver slowly increased speed along the empty road, Damien was laughing and shouting toward the cameras while trying to balance himself against the violent shaking of the couch as it bounced across cracks and loose gravel. The couch jerked sideways repeatedly, and Damien nearly fell once, grabbing the frame to catch himself. He laughed it off and kept performing for the cameras. One of the tow straps was visibly loosening as the couch scraped and bounced. Someone in the truck yelled that the speed needed to be faster for a good shot, and the driver pushed the accelerator harder. Friends were shouting for Damien to do something more dramatic, to stand up or move around more. The truck entered a slight curve in the road while traveling much faster than before. The couch fishtailed violently across the pavement and swung partly into the opposite lane. An approaching SUV appeared around the curve only seconds later, with its headlights cutting through the darkness. Damien noticed the headlights at the last moment and jumped off while the couch was still moving at high speed. The momentum threw him hard across the gravel shoulder. His head struck a large exposed stone near the ditch, and his body rolled several more feet through the grass before stopping. The couch narrowly missed the SUV as the pickup driver swerved back into the proper lane. For several seconds, nobody moved. Then someone screamed. Friends ran toward Damien. He was not moving, and blood was coming from his head, and someone finally called 911. Paramedics arrived on the rural road several minutes later. Damien was unresponsive and breathing in an uneven way. There was heavy bleeding from his head, and his body was positioned at an angle that looked wrong. His limbs were not responding to anything. Shortly after paramedics arrived, he stopped breathing entirely and went into cardiac arrest. He was pronounced dead before transport to the hospital. Investigators examined the scene and found skid marks showing the truck had been traveling at high speed when the curve approached. No video was eventually uploaded. Damien was chasing someone else the whole time. The next one is the one I found unsettling. Lucas wasn't chasing anyone. He just wanted one moment that made people stop scrolling. It was August 14, 2019, several miles offshore near the Florida Keys during the peak of dangerous viral stunt videos online. Lucas Vega was 25 and had spent the last year trying to build a following on social media. His pages were filled with risky dares, public pranks, and challenge videos copied from larger creators. Almost none of them gained attention, and friends later said he had become obsessed with filming something crazy enough to finally go viral. That afternoon, Lucas rented a small fishing boat with 3 friends after watching online videos of influencers swimming near sharks for views. One friend brought buckets filled with fish scraps and blood commonly used by local fishermen as chum. Their plan was to attract sharks close to the boat while recording dramatic footage for YouTube. As the boat drifted over deep water, they began tossing chum into the ocean. Within 20 minutes, several large bull sharks began circling beneath the surface. The sharks moved aggressively through the floating bait, while the group filmed excitedly from the deck. Bull sharks are one of the most aggressive shark species. They have extremely poor vision and rely almost entirely on detecting blood and movement in the water. Once feeding begins, they attack anything that moves near them. A human entering the water during active feeding is a guaranteed target. At first, Lucas only leaned over the side pretending to touch the water for the camera, but after reviewing the footage, he complained that it did not look dangerous enough. One friend repeatedly warned him not to get in the water. Lucas ignored the warnings. Laughing into the camera, he tied a rope around his waist so the others could pull him back quickly if anything happened. That rope genuinely breaks my heart a little. He thought it through enough to tie a rope around his waist. He just didn't understand that his plan depended entirely on 4 panicking people on a rocking boat. He climbed onto the edge of the boat and jumped into the water only a short distance from the feeding sharks. For several seconds, nothing happened. Lucas floated beside the boat, smiling and shouting toward the camera while the sharks circled below him. The water around him was murky, and he could not see how close they actually were. Then one of the sharks suddenly rushed toward a drifting piece of chum near his legs. Startled, Lucas began kicking frantically toward the ladder attached to the side of the boat. The movement triggered the attack. A bull shark lunged upward and bit deeply into his lower leg. The teeth tore through muscle and tissue and bone. Lucas screamed and grabbed the ladder, while the others panicked and tried pulling the rope attached to his waist. Blood quickly spread through the water as the injured shark continued circling beneath him. The boat erupted into chaos. One friend struggled to pull Lucas upward, while another attempted to restart the engine and move the boat away from the chum slick. Lucas briefly managed to get both arms onto the deck while his friends tried pulling him aboard. Blood covered the side of the boat, and his injured leg hung partly beneath the surface. As the others struggled to lift his weight, another shark surged upward near the bleeding wound, thrashing violently against the water beside him. The sudden movement caused the group to lose their grip. Lucas slipped backward into the ocean as the sharks continued circling beneath the boat. Nearby fishermen who witnessed the panic radioed emergency services, while Lucas's friends screamed for help from the drifting boat. The sharks continued feeding in the area, making any immediate water rescue impossible. By the time rescue crews arrived, the sharks had dispersed, but Lucas was no longer visible. His body was recovered several hundred yards away after currents had carried it from the scene. Investigators later stated that entering open water beside actively feeding bull sharks after chumming the area created an extremely dangerous situation with a high likelihood of attack. The footage spread was never uploaded. Lucas thought the rope would save him if something went wrong. The next one I found almost made me not continue with these stories. Her whole career was built on pulling bigger targets toward her until the weight of all of it came down on her at once, and I don't think she ever saw that coming either. It was September 14th, 2018, in downtown Atlanta. Rain earlier that evening had left the streets around a small apartment complex, mostly empty, except for rideshare cars and groups leaving nearby bars. 24-year-old Amara Storm had built a massive online following by exposing fake influencers and provoking internet drama for views. She mocked apology videos, leaked private messages, and constantly targeted larger creators to drag herself into trending conversations. Her audience followed her because every upload felt unpredictable and cruel in a way people could not stop watching. Her biggest target became 26-year-old Kaya Solen, a lifestyle influencer known for donating money to struggling families, paying school fees for followers, and organizing charity live streams. Millions followed Kaya because she appeared calm, generous, and genuine online. Amara repeatedly accused her of faking donations, buying followers, and using poor families for attention. Even after several accusations were publicly disproven, the harassment continued through videos, live streams, and social media posts. Eventually, Kaya's supporters retaliated aggressively. Thousands flooded Amara's pages with insults and threats. Her apartment address was leaked online. Some followers filmed themselves mocking her in public after recognizing her from the internet. Nearly every live stream turned into hours of harassment and arguments. During later streams, Amara appeared exhausted, emotionally unstable, and increasingly isolated inside her apartment. I want to stop here because I think this part gets rushed past, and it shouldn't. The truth is that she brought it upon herself. As more people sided with Kaya, the backlash against Amara intensified. Brands quietly ended sponsorships after her attacks drew widespread criticism online. Several endorsement deals disappeared within weeks, and former collaborators publicly distanced themselves from her. Losing sponsorship income only worsened her increasingly unstable behavior online. On the night of September 14th, she started another live stream. Thousands joined over the next several minutes expecting another emotional breakdown or public argument. At first, she cried while talking about how everyone hated her and how her life had become impossible. She was trying to create another viral sympathy moment to get in her viewers and followers' good graces. About 20 minutes into the stream, Amara placed a bottle of dichlorvos insecticide on the desk beside her computer. She told viewers she was done with everything, before taking what appeared to be a quick swallow from the bottle. Seconds later, she began coughing heavily and complained that she could not breathe properly. Some viewers immediately panicked while others accused her of acting for attention, but within minutes, her speech became slurred and confused. She stumbled away from the desk toward the bathroom, apparently trying to force herself to vomit. Her phone fell onto the floor during the struggle, leaving viewers staring at the ceiling while choking, coughing, and movement continued in the background. The live stream remained active for several more minutes before suddenly ending. At first, many viewers still believed the incident was staged, but multiple welfare calls were eventually made to emergency services, though by the time police arrived, the live stream had already been offline for quite some time. Police forced entry into the apartment and found Amara unconscious on the bathroom floor. Doctors later determined the insecticide caused severe organophosphate poisoning, resulting in respiratory failure and cardiac complications. Amara Cole died 3 days later in intensive care without regaining consciousness. According to investigators, internet searches recovered from her laptop suggested she believed swallowing a small amount would only make her temporarily sick and frighten viewers into sympathizing with her again. The live stream was removed within hours, but archived copies spread permanently across the internet.